1. Introduction. My name is Diana. I am 26 years old. I work in a very large office building. There are many people here. The office is always busy. Telephones ring often. People walk fast. The sound of typing is constant. I come here every morning 5 days a week. My job is simple. I sit at my desk for 8 hours. My desk is small and gray. I look at my computer screen. I drink coffee many times during the day. The coffee helps me stay awake. This is my daily life. It is not exciting, but it pays the bills. Near my desk sits a coworker named Mark. Mark is tall and very handsome. He has dark hair and friendly eyes. He is also 26 years old like me. Mark often smiles when he talks to people. His laugh is loud and nice. When I see Mark, I feel warm inside. It is a good feeling, like the sun on a cold day. When he smiles, my heart beats quickly. I think about him a lot. He does not know I think about him. I try to look busy when he is near. I watch Mark often. I watch him when he talks on the phone. I watch him when he drinks his water. I watch him when he walks to the printer. I do this quietly. I do not want him to notice me watching. I do not want anyone to know my feelings. The office is on the 10th floor. From my window, I can see the city street far below. The atmosphere in the office is fast. Everyone works hard to meet deadlines. I try to focus on my tasks, but sometimes it is hard. The noise is constant. I often feel tired by 3 o'clock. But then I see Mark and I feel better. I keep my feelings for Mark a secret. This is important. If I tell him, maybe he will say no. That would be very sad. So I keep the warm feelings hidden deep inside. I talk to him only about work. I ask him simple questions like, "Do you need help with the printer?" Or, "Is the meeting at 2 o'clock?" He always answers nicely. He is always polite. I wait for his smile every day. That smile is the best part of my routine. Sometimes he looks in my direction. When this happens, I quickly look down at my keyboard. I pretend to read something important. My face feels hot. I hope he does not see that I am shy. I wish he would talk to me about things that are not work. I wish he knew how much I like him. But for now, I am just Diana, the quiet girl at the next desk who drinks coffee and watches. 2. I help him. One morning, I was sitting at my desk. I was drinking my coffee and looking at my computer screen. Suddenly, I looked up and saw Mark standing very close to my desk. My heart began to beat fast. He smiled at me, but he looked a little worried. He held a large paper in his hands. It was a long report that he needed to finish for our manager. "Hello, Diana," he said. "I have a big problem. I do not understand this work. I am very confused by this report. Can you help me? You seem to know the system very well." I felt happy that he asked me for help. I quickly put my coffee cup down. I said, "Yes, of course, Mark. I can certainly help you with this." He sat down in the chair next to me. The chair was very close to my own desk. I could smell his nice cologne. I looked at the complicated numbers on the report. I knew how to do the calculations easily. I started to explain the steps to him. I went slowly so he could understand everything. I showed him how the numbers worked together on the screen. I used my pen to point at the important information on the paper. I explained everything clearly, following one step after another. It took about 20 minutes to finish the explanation. Mark watched me the whole time. When I finished speaking, he looked at the report again. His worried face changed completely. He was surprised and very happy. He laughed a little and put his hand on the desk. "Wow, Diana," he said loudly. "You are so good at this job. You understand everything fast. You are truly the best worker here." His praise made me blush. I felt very warm and proud inside. I said, "Thank you, Mark." After that day, things were different. Mark started coming to my desk more often. He always had a new document or a new task he did not understand. He asked for my help many times each week. Sometimes he came just to talk about the weather or the news in the office. I did not mind helping him with the extra work. I liked seeing him walk toward me. I liked hearing his voice say my name. When he was near, I felt very special. I was happy that he paid so much attention to me. I hoped this meant something more than just help with work. Maybe he did not just need my skills. I hoped that maybe, just maybe, he liked me too. I waited every day for him to come to my desk again. I thought about him all the time. 3. We go out. After many weeks of working together, I decided to be brave. I helped Mark often, and he often thanked me. But I wanted more than just a work friendship. I wanted to be closer to him. I knew I had to tell him how I felt. It was a very hard decision, but I needed to know if he liked me too. I waited until the office was almost empty one afternoon. I walked slowly to Mark's desk. My heart beat very fast, and my hands felt cold. They shook a little bit. He looked up when I stopped next to him. He smiled. I took a deep breath and quickly said the words I practiced in my head. "Mark, I like you. I want to go to dinner with you." He did not answer right away. He looked at me for a second and I felt very nervous. Then he smiled his big, handsome smile. "Okay, Diana," he said. "Yes, I want to go to dinner with you." My heart jumped inside my chest. I felt a sudden rush of happiness. We decided to go out on Friday night. I spent the next 2 days thinking only about the date. I felt very excited. I bought a new dress and spent a long time getting ready. I wanted everything to be perfect. Friday night finally arrived. Mark came to pick me up after work. We drove to a nice restaurant in the city center. The restaurant was warm and quiet. Soft music played. We sat at a small table just for 2 people. We talked easily that night. We talked about silly things and serious things. We talked about our jobs, our lives, and our goals. We laughed many times. His laugh was loud and kind. I felt very close to him. He told me I looked beautiful, and I smiled all evening long. It was the perfect date. I thought this was the night I waited for. The dinner ended late, but we did not want the night to finish. We walked outside together. He held my hand as we walked under the street lights. It felt so right to be with him. We spent the rest of the night together. In the morning, I woke up and looked at his face. He was already awake and smiling at me. I knew then that my dream had come true. I believed this was the start of a real relationship. I thought we were a couple now. I felt completely happy. I thought that this was the beginning of something long and beautiful. Too much work. The day after our night together, the feeling between us changed. I thought we were starting a relationship, but Mark did not talk about us. He came to my desk, but only to discuss his job. The dynamic in the office was suddenly very different. Mark started claiming he was too busy. He told me he had many tasks. He said he could not finish his reports on time. He looked stressed, and I felt bad for him. I thought he was having a difficult time with his workload. He said he needed my help because I understood the system better than him. Soon, he began giving me his assignments. He placed large piles of files and folders on my desk. He said, "Diana, I need you. You are the only one who can help me finish this." He used soft, kind words. He made me feel important and necessary. I loved him, so I found it difficult to say no to his requests. I accepted all the extra work. I told myself that love means supporting the person you care about. If he needed me to do his job, I would do it. I wanted to be a good partner to him. Because of this, my work life became very long. Mark started leaving the office early, sometimes around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. He always had an excuse to leave quickly. Meanwhile, I stayed behind. I sat at my desk alone for many hours every evening. The office became quiet and dark. I was always working on Mark's projects, not mine. I was tired. The stress started to feel heavy in my head and my shoulders. I worked late every night, sometimes until 9 or 10 o'clock. I finished my own tasks quickly, and then I started his. I knew I was doing the work of 2 people, but I kept repeating the same idea in my head: I am helping the man I love. This thought was the only thing that kept me going during those long, lonely nights. I hoped that when the work was finally done, we could spend time together again. 5, the other girl. I worked very fast. I finished all of Mark's reports. It took me a long time, but now the desk was clean. I looked at the clock. It was time for lunch. I felt hungry. I wanted to share lunch with Mark. I missed him. I wanted to tell him that his work was done. I wanted him to smile at me again. I stood up from my chair. I walked through the big office. I looked for Mark at his desk, but he was not there. I walked toward the exit. Sometimes people ate lunch outside. I walked past the windows. The parking area was outside the building. I looked out to see if he was standing near the entrance. Then I saw them. My feet stopped moving. I saw Mark standing next to a car. He was not alone. There was a girl with him. She worked in the sales department. I knew her name, but we did not speak often. She was laughing. Mark was laughing too. They stood very close together. The girl put her hand on Mark's arm. It was a soft touch. Mark did not move away. He looked happy. He looked relaxed. This was the time he told me he was too busy to finish his reports. This was the time I was sitting alone, doing his job. He did not look busy now. He looked like he was having fun. My chest felt cold, then very hot. It hurt to look at them. It hurt more to breathe. I remembered everything. The late nights I spent working. The stress I felt doing two people's jobs. I did it because I loved him. I did it because he said he needed me. But he did not need me. He just needed my help with his work. His excuses were not true. He was not too busy. He was busy with her. He lied to me. He used me to do his job so he could spend time with the other girl. My feelings were big and heavy. I felt foolish. I turned around quickly. I did not want them to see me. I walked back inside the building alone. 6, I say no. The next day, the anger was strong inside me. It was a hot feeling. I looked at my desk and remembered the long nights. I remembered doing all of Mark's job. I thought about the time I lost helping him. I thought about my own stress because of his laziness. I knew I had to change things. I would not be his helper anymore. Mark came to me shortly after lunch. He smiled his usual handsome smile. He did not look worried. He carried a large, thick stack of files. These were tasks he always gave to me. He put the papers right on the edge of my desk. He expected me to take them. "Diana, can you help me again?" he asked. His voice was soft. He expected me to say yes, as always. He acted like nothing happened. He acted like we were still close. He acted like I had not seen him yesterday with the other girl. I looked at the yellow and white papers. I did not touch them. The memory of the other girl came back fast. I saw her hand on his arm. I heard his easy laugh. This memory was fire in my chest. My rage grew bigger. I knew I had to stop helping him right now. I decided that this was the moment I would take my power back. I stood up very fast. My chair hit the floor loudly behind me. I looked down at Mark. He looked surprised by my sudden movement. I picked up the heavy papers. I did not speak at first. Then I threw the files back onto his desk. The papers flew everywhere in the air. They landed in a messy pile all over his keyboard and chair. The office went quiet immediately. Everyone stopped working and looked at us. Mark looked completely shocked. His mouth opened, but he said nothing. He stared at the mess and then at me. I used my voice. It was strong and very clear. I said, "No, Mark, I will not help you anymore." I pointed at the papers. "Do your own work now." My body felt strong, even though my hands shook a little from the sudden action. I was not afraid. I felt free for the first time in many weeks. Mark tried to speak my name. "Diana, wait, please." But I did not listen to him. I turned my back. I walked away from my desk and away from his lies. I needed to breathe the new, clean air of freedom. 7. He loses his job. The weeks after I told Mark to do his own work were busy. The entire office had many tasks. Mark now had to complete all his reports alone. This was very difficult for him. He struggled with every project. He did not know how to use the complex computer system for reporting. He often made mistakes when saving files. Sometimes he lost important data and had to start again. He looked confused at his desk every day. He needed constant help, but I did not offer it. I just watched him. Mark's work habits also became worse. He started arriving late every morning. Sometimes he arrived at 9:30 or even 10 o'clock. He also left early, usually before 5 o'clock. His desk was empty when clients called or when the team needed him. Our boss, Mr. Johnson, saw everything. Mr. Johnson is a serious man. He noticed Mark's late arrivals and his lack of progress on the big projects. The boss looked angry often. He asked Mark simple questions about his tasks, but Mark could not give clear answers. Mark looked nervous all the time. One Thursday morning, Mark was trying to print a long document. The printer stopped working, and he became very frustrated. He hit the desk and made a loud noise. Mr. Johnson heard the sound from his office. Mr. Johnson walked quickly to Mark's desk. He stood there for a moment. His voice was low and cold. He did not shout. He just said, "Mark, come to my office now." Mark followed the boss slowly. The door closed behind them. The office became completely quiet. Everyone stopped working and looked at the closed door. We waited for a long time. It felt like 30 minutes, but it was probably only 20 minutes. When the door opened, Mark came out. He walked with his head down. He did not look at anyone. His face was red and sad. He held a small cardboard box. In the box were a few personal things, a coffee cup, a photo, and some pens. Mark walked quickly toward the main exit. He did not say goodbye to any coworkers. He just left the building. People started whispering immediately. Everyone knew what happened. Later that afternoon, the manager of human resources sent an email to the team. The email was short. It confirmed the news. Mark was no longer working here. He had been fired. I understood the reason clearly. He could not do his job without my help. My work had hidden his true incompetence for many months. Now, without me, he had failed. 8. My new life. I watched Mark leave the big office building. He walked slowly. He carried a small box with his personal things inside. It was the last time I would see him here. I felt a small moment of sadness for him. Then, that sadness went away very quickly. I felt a great sense of clarity. I knew this was the correct end for him. He had caused this trouble by himself. I sat at my desk and began to think about the past few months. I remembered the first time he asked me for help. I remembered how much I liked his smile. I remembered the warm feeling I had in my chest when he spoke to me. I wanted him to like me very much. This strong desire made me make bad choices for myself. I gave him my professional time. I gave him all my extra energy. I did all of his reports. I stayed in the office alone until very late at night, many times. I always told myself I was helping him because I loved him. I thought I was being a good partner, but he did not love me. He only wanted to use me. He used my skills so he could be lazy. He used my kindness so he could spend time with the other girl. This was the hard lesson I needed to learn. I realized that I gave too much. I worked too hard for a person who did not respect me or my job. Now, I understand things much better. I must protect my heart always. I must protect my work time. I must protect my professional boundaries. My time is very valuable. My skills are also valuable. I cannot give these things away to someone who only wants to take from me. The office felt quiet now. It felt peaceful. I only had my own tasks to finish. I worked at a normal, steady pace. I did not feel the huge stress of Mark's incomplete work anymore. I did not need to rush or stay until midnight. I finished the last email on my list for the day. I looked at the clock. It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I stood up and stretched my arms high above my head. I felt a great sense of relief. I walked back to my desk and sat down one last time before leaving. I closed my eyes and took a very long, deep breath. The air felt clean. My mind felt free. I was strong again. I had faced the problem and I had won. I had chosen myself over a painful situation. My new life started right now, in this moment. I smiled. I decided to go home and plan something fun for the evening. I would always choose Diana first from now on. This lesson was important, and I would remember it every day. I was ready for the future.